welcome to another episode of Amanda Homestead. My name is Amanda, and I'm going to do another episode on cooking on your wood stove just because I'm going to make something today that I think is really, it seems like it's really challenging to make, which is bread. Because with the wood stove, you only have kind of the top cooking surface. And so it's really kind of hard to get an even kind of bake to make something as complicated as bread. So you can make flatbreads, like I've made pitas before. You can make pancakes. That kind of stuff's pretty easy. But what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little bit easier for ourselves. We're going to make dinner rolls. So we're going to show you how to do that on your wood stove today. Okay, so basically you're going to get you can use a recipe for any kind of dinner roll that you like. This one is a rye dinner roll just because I like to have a little bit of kind of, you could use whole wheat. Then you're going to put it into a nice big bowl. You're going to cover it up and you're going to put it somewhere warm to allow it to rise, to double in size, about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the temperature of your room. And we'll come back when that is done. Okay, so this has been sitting for about an hour in a warm place, and it has definitely doubled in size. We're going to punch it down out here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my bench scraper, but you could use just a sharp knife, and we're going to cut it into however many kind of roll sizes you're supposed to make. For us, this is going to be a dozen. You could weigh them to make sure they're exactly the same size, but I just kind of eyeball it. Okay, so here are our pieces. And now the thing that's important is what you're going to bake this in. And you want something that's actually going to be a pan that's going to be deeper, if you want to cook it on the wood stove, deeper than the rolls are going to be. Okay, so you could use a loaf pan, that would work, or you're going to use, I've got this kind of cast iron 13 by 13 or cast iron ceramic 13 by 13 casserole dish that would work perfectly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease this a little bit, not too much. You'll see why later, just a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our individual pieces and turn them into kind of roll shapes. Just want to make sure that it's sealed on the bottom. Kind of rolling it in your palm to create a little bit of tension. And then I'm going to put them into my little pan here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread them out so that they're kind of evenly spaced here. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up again, and I'm going to put this back into that warm spot, and we're going to leave it until they have risen enough that they're touching each other, and then we're going to put them on to bake. So about 45 minutes of more rising time. All right, so while our rolls are rising, we're going to preheat our oven, for lack of a better term. So I've got these cast iron trivets that I really like because it allows me to create different heat zones. So I'm going to put one there, one right side. And then I've got a temperature gauge here that kind of helps me see what temperature the oven is in. So I'm just going to put that on one of those trivets. And then I have a roasting pan that I'm just going to turn upside down and put over top. Okay, fits pretty much perfectly right on top of that stove. And so underneath there is going to be our oven. Okay, so that's going to be preheating for about 45 minutes so we can get it hopefully to roughly 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so our rolls are perfectly risen now because they're touching each other pretty much evenly, and they're kind of below this level here, which I want, which we'll kind of explain later. Now I've got a little egg wash, which is a little bit of whole egg and a little bit of water, and that's going to help with the browning, which is the trickiest part of making these rolls. I'm just putting a little bit on now, and I'm going to put a little bit on later as well. All right, so you can see that our little oven is now should be preheated. Underneath that roasting pan, you can see it's about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The recipe I want is about like 350, so I want this to be a little bit hotter because it's just right there. So I made it about 50 degrees hotter. Okay, and now we're gonna put our rolls on there. Okay, there they are. And and now we put the lid back on. And that creates our oven. So we're gonna leave that there for about 20 minutes. The whole recipe kind of says 20 to 25 minutes. This is gonna take longer than a regular recipe, and it's kind of more like you just have to keep an eye on it. So it's been 20 minutes now, so we're gonna take the lid off. And they are looking pretty good, but they're not browning, right? And that's the problem. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some more egg wash on there. Just a little bit more. Now here's the trick. I'm gonna separate out those, and then we're gonna flip this over like that. Okay, bottom, and then we're gonna put this back on. Okay, and then okay. It's been about 10 minutes. My wood stove was burning a little hot, so I ended up switching out my lower trivets for my higher trivets here, just to get it a little bit higher off the wood stove because I was worried about it burning. All right, so let's see what it looks like. And there they are. Beautiful. Perfect, pretty much. And that's for anybody who thought that they couldn't get browned bread on just a wood stove top. Okay, so now it's time for the absolute worst job, which is the taste test. So let's try one of these. Oh, and I think I hear Dave coming. He must sense that they're ready. So here's one of our beautiful rolls. It's still pretty hot. I'm gonna break it open. Woo. Steaming, beautiful. You can see the steam there. Okay, let's try it out. Really, really good. So never think that you can't bake on your wood stove, because you totally can. You just have to figure out a few things. So if you guys have any other things that you've tried making on your wood stove, recipes you want to share, I'd love to hear them. All right. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll see you again soon. All right. Bye-bye.